We're live. You see
I
that?
know. Yeah, that's what we use. While it goes small. Whoop. Ta-da!
Hello, this is George.
And Bonnie.
Mwah. Who's the one that said smooching last week? The one from Arizona.
Yeah, Diane.
Napkin.
Diane.
Yeah. Anyway,
She said no.
now that we're done just chatting back and forth,
Seriously.
nobody's on watching us anyways.
It's alright. They'll be there.
I know. But anyway, it's May
14.
14th. And this is Adonai Sanctuary Truth Classroom. We're almost through with Leviticus.
Yeah.
Most.
Like 4 chapters left. And we're going over 2 tonight.
Yeah.
What it wrote.
27.
Pardon?
27.
Really? That can't be.
What?
We're just joking. We're having a little goofiness going around with our telephones and everything. And we're hoping that this stays online and everything works.
I hope so.
But anyway, chapter 23 of Leviticus. Adonai has been giving instructions before. But chapter 23 and beyond seems to make the regulations real. What a statement. Read 23, 1 through 4, please.
Adonai said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel, the designated times of Adonai, which you are to proclaim as holy convocations, are my designated times. Work is to be done on 6 days, but the 7th day is a Shabbat of complete rest, a holy convocation. You are not to do any kind of work. It is a Shabbat for Adonai, even in your homes. These are the designated times of Adonai, the holy convocation you are to proclaim at their designated times."
Work for 6 days and rest on the 7th day. And it says, she just read, keep my Shabbat, or Sabbath. Now my sweetie's going to read 5.
In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, between sundown and complete darkness, comes Pesach for Adonai. Pesach?
First month, and some calendars are English, they say Nisan, and the scriptures in other Bibles say Abib, and Pesach is what it is. The 14th day is Pesach, which is the Passover. It's going to get a little interesting, folks. Read 6 through 8, please.
On the 15th day of the same month is the festival of matzah. For 7 days you are to eat matzah. On the first day you are to have a holy convocation. Don't do any kind of ordinary work. Bring an offering made by fire for Adonai for 7 days. On the 7th day is a holy convocation. Do not do any kind of ordinary work.
There we go again. On 7th day, don't do any work. But for 7 days, observe starting on the 15th day of the festival of matzah. That's eating only unleavened bread. And when she read it, and it says, have an offering made by fire to Adonai.
So it says, for 7 days.
Read 9 through 11, please.
Adonai said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel, after you enter the land I am giving you and harvest its ripe crops, you are to bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the Kohen." 7 through
11.
That's what I thought.
9 through 11.
Yeah. He is to wave the sheaf before Adonai so that you will be accepted. The Kohen is to wave it on the day after Shabbat.
Bring the first fruits. When you go into the land, more or less what it says, bring the first fruits. He's giving them instructions ahead of time on what to do. Have you ever seen that before?
No. A lot of Leviticus I've never seen.
When I was going over, I had something else I had to write. Oh. 23, read 23, 12 through 15, please.
On the day that you weigh the sheaf, you are to offer a male lamb without defect in its first year as a burnt offering for Adonai. Its grain offering is to be 1 gallon of fine flour mixed with olive oil, an offering made by fire to Adonai as a fragrant aroma. Its drink offering is to be wine, 1 quart. How far am I going?
Through 15.
You are not to eat bread, dried grain, or fresh grain until the day you bring the offering for your God. This is a permanent regulation through all your generations, no matter where you live. From the day after the day of rest, that is, from the day you bring the sheaf for waving, you are to count 7 full weeks. That's a long time.
Bring the offering to Adonai before you eat any type of bread or grain, and you are to have 1 quart of wine. Uh-oh. Wine? Oh, no. That part it says again. That is a permanent regulation through all generations. You read that, didn't you?
Yep.
That reading even says, what was that last little bit? No matter where you live, they're supposed to keep that regulation. Interesting. It doesn't say, well, if you leave Israel and you go to the U.S., it's okay to shuck it aside. It says in the last part, no matter where you live.
What it says.
The Passover, the matzah, the first fruit offering, the olive oil mixed with fine flour, the wine, the offering made by fire to Adonai. That offering is a fragrant aroma to Adonai. Read 16, please.
Until the day after the 7th week, you are to count 50 days, and then you are to present a new grain offering to Adonai.
After the offering, wait 7 full weeks. In other words, the month of Savan, for the celebration of the Festival of Weeks, which is what we call Pentecost, and what they call Pentecost, but they're actually the Festival of Weeks. 7 full weeks. Count 50 days. Read 24 through 26, please.
Tell the people of Israel in this 7th month, the first of the month is to be for you a day of complete rest from remembering, a holy convocation announced with blasts on the shofar. 24 and 25, right?
26.
Do not do any kind of ordinary work, and bring an offering made by fire to Adonai. Adonai said to Moses,
On Tishrei, and that eponym in some scriptures, the 7th month of the first day, have a blast on the shofars. That's what you read. It's called the starting of an assembly by blasting the shofar. And remember to have a complete day of rest. And that's signaled by the trumpets. Read 27, please.
Excuse me. The 10th day of the 7th month is Yom Kippur. You are to have a holy convocation. You are to deny yourselves, and you are to bring an offering made by fire to Adonai.
On the 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement, which is actually what in the Hebrew language, Yom Kippur. Same regulations. If you don't do those regulations, what is to be done with them? Read 29.
Anyone who does not deny himself on that day is to be cut off from his people.
Cut off from his people. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, cut them off from his people, from your people. Isn't that interesting? It isn't a suggestion. It isn't a goody two-shoe type of philosophy or doctor or some type of, well, you can do it if you want, or you can call them anything you want. No, it is a rule, a regulation. Let's jump down to 334.
Tell the people of Israel, on the 15th day of this 7th month is the feast of Sukkot for 7 days to Adonai. Oops.
The 15th day of Tishri, Tishri, is a feast of Sukkot. In other words, the Feast of Tabernacles. And they call it the Feast of Booths. When you go over and study, well, read 37 through 41, please.
These are the designated times of Adonai that you are to proclaim as holy convocations, and bring an offering made by fire to Adonai, a burnt offering, a grain offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, each on its own day. Besides the Shabbats of Adonai, your gifts, all your vows, and all your voluntary offerings that you give to Adonai. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered the produce of the land, you are to observe a festival of Adonai 7 days. The first day is to be complete rest, and on the 8th day is to be complete rest. On the 1st through 41. On the first day you are to take choice fruit, palm fronds, thick branches, and river willows, and celebrate in the presence of Adonai your God for 7 days. You are to observe it as a feast to Adonai 7 days in the year. It is a permanent regulation, generation after generation. Keep it in the 7th month.
Again, you see those regulations were to be kept as a permanent regulation from generation after generation after generation. It says celebrate or keep it always in the 7th month. Read 42 and 43, please.
You are to live in Sukkot for 7 days. Every citizen of Israel is to live in a Sukkot, so that the generation after generation of you will know that I made the people of Israel live in Sukkot when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Adonai your God.
Remember when she read the celebration of Sukkot, when we said tabernacle, and I told you it's the celebration of Booths? She just explained it. You are to live in Sukkot. That's Booths, or the tabernacles, to celebrate the feast of Sukkot. All Israel is to live in booths so they see what Adonai made them live in when he brought them out of Egypt. So it wasn't just something he thought up. It was something that Adonai told them, you're going to do this so you understand where you came from. Not just a regulation that nobody knows anything about. That was kind of really interesting when I really stopped and thought about it. Do this because I said so. And who's the I? What's the last part?
I am Adonai, your God.
Why? Do this because I said so. I am Adonai. Now we know there are preachers and priests and rabbi teachers who might not use Adonai. No, they only want to use God because that's what everybody loves to hear. But think about it. I believe it was Genesis or Exodus. Exodus 3:15, I think. When he said his name was Yod Haviv Adonai. My sweetie's looking it up. See if I'm anywhere close.
Exodus 3:15.
15.
I gotta find it. God further said to Moses, this is the people, say this to the people of Israel.
Yod Haviv Adonai.
The God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me. This is my name forever. This is how I am to be remembered generation after generation.
Interesting, isn't it? This is my name forever, and how many preachers would even know it or admit that was his real name? Have you ever heard a preacher say that? Preacher, priest, or rabbi?
Nope.
Now we're going to go to Leviticus 24, and we believe 1 through 4 is kind of interesting. Yet my sweetie's going to read 1 through 3.
Adonai said to Moses, order the people of Israel to bring you pure oil from crushed olives for the light, to keep the lamps burning. Outside the curtain of the testimony of the tent of meeting, Aaron is to arrange for the light to be kept burning always from evening until morning before Adonai. This is to be a permanent regulation through all your generations.
Bring pure oil from the crushed olives. That in itself never jumped out at me until I started reading this. Read it before, thought about it before, but this points right to the nit and gritty of what that talks about. Bring pure oil crushed from olives. So the lamps will be kept burning always, never to go out. She even said that is to be a permanent rule from generation to generation. Never let it go out. He will provide the olives so you can crush them to make the oil to burn. That was interesting. Then 24:4 states how important this is. Read 4, please.
He is always to keep in order the lamps on the pure menorah before Adonai.
That's how important it was. Think about it. That's actually telling you, and anybody who studies that, how important the keeping the lamp on the menorah is.
Yep, this is always.
Interesting.
Always, always.
Now, we know individuals who act holy while in their place of worship, yet act like the world went away from that building. Do you know anybody like that?
Yep.
There's huge amounts of people that do that.
Yep.
And then you have some, preachers who act like that in the building. Read 24:5 through 9, please.
You are to take fine flour and use it to bake 12 loaves, 1 gallon per loaf. Arrange them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on a pure table before Adonai. Put frankincense in each row to be an offering made by fire to Adonai in place of the bread as a reminder of it. Regularly, every Shabbat, he is to arrange them before Adonai. They are from the people of Israel as a covenant forever. They will belong to Aaron and his sons, and they are to eat them in the holy place, because for him they are of the offerings for Adonai made by fire, especially holy. This is a permanent law.
A permanent law.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And when you sit back and think about what they had to do, or were supposed to do from generation to generation, I wrote, we are not very good people if we don't. So we, people, have to study the scripture for truth. We're bringing out stuff that I've never seen before. And I've never heard it brought out this way from the pulpit. But they usually tell you what they want to keep you happy. Read 10 through 16, please. 24, 10 through 16.
There was a man who was the son of a woman of Israel and an Egyptian father. He went out among the people of Israel, and this son of a woman of Israel had a fight in the camp with the man of Israel, in the course of which the son of the woman of Israel uttered the name
Yad-Haviv
in a curse. So they brought him to Moses. You want me to read the rest of that? His name, the daughter of
No, that's right.
tribe of Dan. I'll put it that way. They put him under guard until Adonai would tell them what to do. Adonai said to Moses, take the man who cursed outside the camp, everyone who heard him lay their hands on his head, and have the entire community stone him. Tell the people of Israel, whoever curses his God will bear the consequences of his sin, and whoever blasphemes the name of Adonai must be put to death. The entire community must stone him. The foreigner, as well as the citizen, is to be put to death if he blasphemes the name. Yeah, wow is right. Sounds like it covers everybody.
Many people curse this day and age and think nothing of it. And here, somebody by the name of Adonai, Yod-Haviv, Adonai, says, if you curse and think because you go to your priest, preacher, or rabbi teacher, everything is forgiven, maybe you should understand. Read 11 again, please.
In the course of which the son of the woman of Israel uttered the name,
Yad-Haviv.
So they brought him to Moses.
Even in the case of a fight you curse, they used Yad-Haviv when they cursed. When you study all of 24:11, you find out this was an actual event. Then 24:15, read that, please.
Then tell the people of Israel, whoever curses his God will bear the consequences of his sin.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Whoever curses Yad-Haviv, Adonai, God, will bear the consequences of his own sin. It doesn't matter if you go to your priest or rabbi teacher and say, oh, I'm sorry. By the way, that states you're going to bear the consequences. The only way I can see you might get by is with sincerity. You go to Yad-Haviv and ask for his forgiveness. But how many people do that? Whoever curses Yad-Haviv, Adonai, God, will bear the consequences of his own sin. That's what she just read. Now read Leviticus 24:17 through 22, please.
Anyone who strikes another person and kills him must be put to death. Anyone who strikes an animal and kills it is to make restitution life for life. If someone injures his neighbor, what he did is to be done to him. Break for break, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Whatever injury he has caused, the other person is to be rendered to him in return. He who kills an animal is to make restitution, but he who kills another person is to be put to death. You are to apply the same standard of judgment to a foreigner as to a citizen, because I am Adonai your God.
If you murder somebody, it says, well, this actually says you have to pay break for break, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. And if you murder somebody, let's think about that. How about those drug dealers? The lives they have destroyed. Would they still do it if, when caught, they were injected with that poison they're doing as their punishment? Yet, when caught, any more than a slap on the hand, but not one of them dies. And his family, in some instances, get millions and an education in today's stupidity. When you read 24:23, please.
4:23. So Moses spoke to the people of Israel, and they took the man who had cursed outside the camp and stoned him to death. Thus the people of Israel did as Adonai had ordered Moses.
Now think about it. The guy didn't kill anybody. He didn't break anybody's shoulders. Didn't poke out his eyes. Didn't hit him so hard he knocked a tooth out. Yet he did what he was ordered not to do. You see what the people of Israel did. Due to the man who cursed Yud Haviv Adonai. And stop pandering around. And there's a gentleman that just popped on the screen that says the whole God is love thing takes on a look when you study, really study that Old Testament.
Mm-hmm. He put a different look in there.
It's a different look, isn't it? Yep. You know what a different look really is? Truth. Instead of the patronizing to the society of, how do I put this politely? Ignorance. I'm more out.
People use that a lot.
Ignorance?
God is love, so.
Yes. Tom wrote, the whole God is love thing takes it on a different look when you study the Old Testament.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, and I haven't said this very often on this little voodoo box here. Amen. I'm all right. I thank you for watching. And I thank everybody who's going to watch. We had 104 or 105 views last week. Oh, we get about 80, but in the 50 to 80 in the first day. Praise God. Way to go. Tell your other friends, your cohorts, your enemies, your preachers. I don't care. They can watch. I know there's one preacher that watches, and he don't always like it, but he watches. And it's not that we're trying to get numbers. We're only trying to get truth. Mm-hmm. And truth is very interesting when you find it. See you next week. We don't know where we're going to be. I want to be out on the road, and my sweetie says we might have to be here another week.
Well, yeah.
Who knows?
With the holiday coming.
Well, That's the excuse she uses.
Okay.
We have did get a car fixed and a bunch of other stuff. But remember, study for truth.
Amen.
Don't study for what brainwashing you've already learned. Look for what the words really say, what the words really mean. Like Tom said, that God of love thing, it gets pretty overlooked in the Old Testament, doesn't it? But it's such a nice thing in the New. But is it? Is it really telling you what God really wants you to know? Or is it patronizing you because that's what you want? Anyway, see you next week.
Have a good one, guys. Please like and share it.
We'll be here.
And we'll be here. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Don't you find it interesting?